right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And welcome to the Dope Muslim Woman podcast. How are you guys? It's so great to see all of you.
Assalamu alaikum.
MashaAllah. I say this every time just so people would know, but we are officially live, but it does take a moment or two for it to officially roll over onto our platforms. For our audience members, as you come in, please offer the salams. Wa alaikum salam. Veronique, you're always the first here. Good to see you. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to the Dope Muslim Woman podcast, special edition. We are here on season 3, series 3, Love and Restoration. And this is our final special edition of this series, and I'm super excited. I hate to say that we saved the best for last, but we don't want to say that too loud. MashaAllah. So we are here with Selection Perfection, which is based off of a new and upcoming book by that Clay couple. And we are humbled and happy to have a phenomenal guest, expert here in the building. And I will introduce her in a minute. Assalamu alaikum. Please give your salams. It keeps the barakah here. It's nice to see all of you guys. MashaAllah. All right, let's get right into it, you guys. I have a phenomenal panel here for you guys today. I'm going to start with our beloved sister. She is a single mother of 2 children. She's a nanny and a parent coach. And for many of us in the Atlanta area, we know her for having very, very famous kale wraps that everybody is obsessed with. We will travel all around the city to get these kale wraps. Welcome, Sister Naaila, to the show. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. All right. And our brother here, he is a native from Indiana, but he was raised in Tennessee. He's been 10 years as a chef, worked 10 years as a chef and a culinary expert. He also does photo designs and resizing and framing. And I think his business is called Get Framed. He is an author of an autobiography called Streets Led Me Here, and it will be available on Amazon in June. I am so happy to have Brother Trishawn here on the show. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. MashaAllah. And I'm so humbled here to have this amazing brother, MashaAllah. He is the founder of, Emperor Clothing. Okay. And it perpetuates African royalty and greatness. He is well known for his expertise in financial literacy. He's an instructor in creating the proper investment portfolio among all the market madness we are experiencing right now. He is your finance go-to guy to have in our community. We are blessed to have him. Brother Yusuf, welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. And last but not least, our amazing expert here for today, MashaAllah, she always comes back and supports the Dope Muslim Woman podcast. I'm just humbled to have her not only as an expert that I can call on, but just as a friend. She's worked in the mental health field for over 20 years. She is a licensed counselor. She's worked on the board of directors for several nonprofit organizations. She's an ongoing contributor in the counseling department for About Islam. She is one half of that Clay couple, a famous couple that is known all over the world for their counseling and their support of Muslim marriages. She has, MashaAllah, her and her husband have a premarital 100% success rate with their courses. And she is also the author of Selection Perfection, which is what this podcast is based all around. It is now in the pre-order phase. You can pre-order it on thatclaycouple.com, and it will be available on March 2nd on Amazon. Welcome, Sister Naaila Clay, to the show. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Thank you so much. I am humbled and happy.
Thank you for being here. And mashallah, we're going to get right into the discussion, but I thought it was interesting as everybody's giving their salams. I have an amazing sister, and she just shared really quickly. She said she's never had any luck with finding a good Muslim guy. What can she do to improve her profile Muslim dating app? So we already have the questions going, y'all. So we're going to get into it already, mashallah. Subhanallah. All right. So let's get into it. So this concept of like picking the right person. We've been talking about love and restoration for a while. This is sort of everybody wants to know, how do we get it right? And some would say it's an art form, right? Sometimes people choose a partner or stay with somebody in an unhappy relationship, predominantly based off of some kind of fear. So let's just start here. What are some patterns that men and women have regarding choosing a good partner? And if it's okay, Brother Yusuf, is it all right if I pick your brain about this? What patterns do you see?
Fear. I almost wanted to stop writing my finance book and start on. That's like I'm in the middle of it. I need to finish. But I almost want to stop and just write one on fear because it's huge. Fear is just. I actually got I did a synonym study on it. I did an Islamic study on it, but I also did I told somebody we need to really learn English so that we could actually just even understand some of the stuff that we're reading, even if it's translated, right? And just really debunk these words, break down these words. Fear has so many shades, that it's like the 15-headed monster: trepidation, anxiety, apprehension. I told somebody one of the worst forms of it is when you become petrified. You're actually so scared that you're inactive. You will do nothing. You will not move. I'm teaching finance, and really the trust is not there. Relationship trust is not there. Trust of advocates is not there. So they're just frozen, and they don't understand the instruments. They don't understand the market. And same thing I'm seeing in relationships. We don't understand any of it. So we're trying, but we're trying in so many different forms of fear that we're not courageous. We're not projecting the right things, right? We're not projecting us the right way. So fear is just that you called out the number one thing that's tearing us down, inhibiting, slowing us down as far as concerned.
SubhanAllah. And it seems like mashallah, the audience is all in agreement, fear of failing. I'm going to pop just right over to you, Naaila, if that's okay. What are some common patterns? I know you deal in your premarital and you just deal with the people, the community. What are some common patterns that you see? Where are we going right or wrong in this process of choosing partners?
Okay, at first I said, Yusuf, have you read my book? It has yet. Because in the book, we talk about the three cousins. Not going to give it away, but one of the three cousins is fear. These people, they are kin to a lot of us. Either they're our brother, our sister, or our play cousin. But we feed into those relationships that we have with them. And the fear, people have used words such as debilitating, the fear of failing. I said fear of being judged by the community. But what we do, regardless of where the origin of it is, people make choices and make actions. They choose to act on love and relationships based on that emotional response. And if you haven't learned how to manage your emotions, you're walking around responding to love and relationships from this position. So it's very key for us to first say, is this a real fear? Or because it could be a real issue, or is it my issue? Fear of the community, being judged by the community, using that one for example. Is that a real issue? Yes. Is it my issue? Not unless I make it.
There you go.
It's not my issue unless I make it my issue. We have to decipher what is it that I am going to make an issue in regard to looking for a partner and bathe for myself. The problem is that we use too much criteria. I got to use the master criteria, my mama's criteria, my child's criteria, my ex.
Yeah.
Your ex, the criteria of your ex, because you still have this connected relationship with your former partner. And these are all things. Yusuf, I saw you point the finger. That must be something else. These are all things.
Just pushing her up.
Too.
Yeah, very real. Thank you so much for that. And I mean, I just want to come to you, Naaila, if that's okay. Far as when we talk about fear, I see it. And again, I'm a woman, so I'm biased, but amongst in the conversations of sisters and women, and we sometimes are like so afraid, like the brother said, to even move forward. How do you think, as a woman, we've worked to sort of get past that? Can we work to get past that fear and open up another relationship? Go ahead.
First off, I think we have to just be honest with ourselves. We have to have a certain level of self-awareness of where we came from. If we did have past relationships, what happened in those relationships that hurt us? We have to deal with the hurt, the pain. We have to heal. And if we don't address our healing first and foremost, then we're not going to be able to enter into another relationship with that ease and that trust and that constancy that we should have in a relationship that is going to constantly make us feel valued, or make us feel safe, make us feel like we're in the right place with the right person. Regardless if it is the right person, we can ruin that by just having that fear step in and make us act on things that aren't even there. And sometimes we as women, we can do that. I have been guilty of that myself, so I am very aware of how much fear can debilitate a relationship.
Absolutely. Thank you for speaking to that. Okay, so Brother Trishawn, when we're deciding, I know you're a single brother on the journey towards becoming a family man, inshallah. Not to put your business out there, but yeah, inshallah.
We good.
But okay. So when you're going on this sort of journey towards trying to find this suitable partner, right? Or trying to figure out who's going to align with some of your values and who you are to kind of mesh in making this sort of long-term partnership. How do you navigate in this process as a brother, as a Muslim man? How do you navigate your head versus your heart when you meet someone new? I mean, is it just, how do you navigate that?
Well, I navigated in this way, in this aspect. First and foremost, when it comes to the heart, to me, the heart is more so a fleshly desire to me. And the mind it's always a subconscious part of yourself that's telling you the difference between right and wrong. It's always going to give you sort of a criteria of what you need in your life and what you don't need in your life. And we ignore these things because we initially see what we want, and we try to potentially make it be what we want it to be. And so we end up being disappointed in that aspect, because we looked at this book and it's like, okay, we come up with so many different scenarios and notions and narratives of what this person could be, instead of actually finding and understanding and doing something that we don't really do in relationships is ask questions. Sometimes you have to just ask questions and ask a person, look, how do I love you? What makes you happy? We forget to follow up on these types of things, which leads us more so likely to turmoil. So it creates us this nefarious intent in our space of mind, and we try to criminalize the next person based on, okay, well, since things didn't go as planned, or rushing into a situation without evaluating it. That's kind of differentiates your heart and your mind, because your mind already done told you what this is. It's going to give it to you. It's always this stronger version of you on the inside of you, just trying to thrive and trying to lead you into the right direction. But we ignore it because the heart wants what it wants instead of going after what we need. So that's probably one of the main reasons why we don't pick the right person.
Yeah, interesting. Yusuf, I want to pop over to you. We're going to have the sisters talking in a minute, but Brother Yusuf, we had a podcast last week, and it was about beauty, and we talked a little bit with our brothers about how distracting sometimes it can be, and how you get caught up, and maybe look at compatibility as much, or connection. But then there's sort of a drive to nowadays where we are hyper focused on chemistry, and we are hyper focused on is this person compatible for me? Does this determine long-term success? I just want to know, as a brother, how do you navigate between what, like the brother said, what you are maybe drawn to, what you want, what you desire, versus what is truly good for you? How do you navigate that?
It's crazy because the word is being bounced around. First it was fear, and now it's ready.
Oh,
I even saw a comment on it. Emotional stamina. Let's just say that, then move that to the side. But when you're talking about chemistry, right? That made me think, and I told you, I got like, I was thinking about, the story of the prophet, and it just washed over me. I'm at work, like man, it was like an answer, right? And it was something that I had already kind of said, so it was a little biased there, right? Because something I said in my mind, I was like, I really, being single, not having kids, being 42, and for the first part, just trying to make sure I find myself, in and out of things, but trying to make sure I find myself so that when I do come to the table, I'm pretty much fully ready and able to do what I need to do as a man, right?
right.
But in that then comes what you're talking about compatibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chemistry. I had to kind of resign myself to say, because of some misstarts, that it's pretty much, I think, the best way to go about it. And I kind of rehashed everything that I was doing. It was like, stop looking and start working. Start being in your field. Start being in your greatness or your calling or whatever. And like she was talking about the dating apps, put you out there. Not put what everybody wants out there, but put you out there, because you have some different likes and things that's going to be chemistry with somebody, right? And that's going to be way more powerful than anything else. The revelation that came to me was because you went off one day. You were, before, like when we really talked about it, you went out, and I'm talking about, like, I had chills, right? Because I was like,
Oh, you talking about one of my lives?
like, go sis, yes. I was like,
oh yeah, I go off every now and then.
Get messy up right quick, get out there. But I realized when you're talking about, like, we were talking about perfection. We were looking for perfection. We're looking for this, that, and the other. And I remember one of my old quotes. I said, "We're looking for all this, but what do they get?" That was the mind. That was a mind blower.
Talk about it, right? Absolutely.
So that's
what do you bring to the table?
Yeah, that's something me back to work on myself. But also, I thought about the story of the life of the prophet, and I thought about, like, hadith and some of our social constraints rules as far as getting married and stuff. And I was like, sometimes, and some of the Quranic ayats, it would just go through my head, and I look back and study it. And Khadijah was a wealthy widow. The prophet worked on her behalf, worked for her. In that perfection, we're looking for perfect mates that's already stable across the board and stuff, and literally have a story of success on she found trust in him. He was in his field. He was just operating in his field. Somebody suggested it, trustworthy, right? And just to understand that he worked for her.
Right.
Where's the glass ceiling? Hold on. Where's the chauvinism? Like, well, hold on. Like, let's relook and rehash some things, because, like, I mean, she literally made her decision about him based on how great a businessman he was. Like, I just talked about this. We were at the masjid, and I was like, this is what reformed me to go into the financial side, because I was like, it's so much spookiness, and so much it's not developed just on the knowing what we can do, can't do. As far as that, I don't want to take up too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm just gonna come right in. Thank you for so much for that point. You made some powerful points just now, and I'm gonna ask Naima and then head on over to Sister Naaila. But Naima, really quickly, many of us, like I said, as we're on this search, and Brother Yusuf mentioned a powerful point, is sometimes we are looking for perfection, but yet we're not doing the inner work that we need to do with ourselves. But how do we balance, especially as women, as a woman, how do you balance between choosing someone that, like say you just kind of have a strong connection with versus someone who is a practical good fit for you?
That goes right back to that self-awareness, I think. If you're not aware of your shortcomings, if you're not aware of what you have to bring in a positive aspect to a relationship, and also just being real, that we have all these expectations that come from societal norms. This does not come from Islam, that we have to have a 6 foot tall, dark and handsome, beautiful man that has a beautiful career, a lot of money, 6 figures or more or better.
Sweet.
That is not Islam.
Yeah,
so a lot of times we do have these idealistic point of views in our mind that we would like to have. We would like for those butterflies to turn in our stomachs, but it's not necessarily the way that marriage is built upon. Marriage is built upon faith first and foremost in Islam. We have to look for that. If we have that in ourselves, of course we want that in our mate. We want our brothers to lead us in our marriage, in our lives. And then of course we want someone who's going to be emotionally intact. We want someone who's going to be financially okay, but we don't need a millionaire. We have to be realistic. So in order for us to bring that balance, Maria, we have to come back to the truth, to the Islam, to the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as Yusuf mentioned. And the example of our beautiful example of Lady Khadijah, may Allah be pleased with her, because that example sets the tone for us. It sets a very, very strong tone of how we need to address our marriages today.
Powerful, Naima. Now, Naaila, I'm pop over to you because Sister Khalida just popped in and she said, but all these times we be abandoning our realistic expectations for the sake of Islam, but where is the balance? And Sister Saudia said, I still need those butterflies though. So let's come on in, Sister Naaila, and I need you to just break this down for us. How are we, when we're meeting someone new, how are we balancing that? What are some guiding questions? What are some steps a person should go through to determine if they are meeting a good fit?
When we talk about the separation between the head and the heart, we actually cannot separate the two. But as the brother said earlier, people go to the heart because the heart wants what it wants. Go with that stronghold. And this is what happens is because we can't separate the two when we are actually choosing a partner. This is what we do. We invest in people first. We invest our time. We invest our inbox. We invest our text. We invest our money. And then based on that investment, regardless of whether or not this is a good candidate for you, then you make a choice. And that is your problem. You make a choice based on a heart investment and your mind just gone.
Fargo.
Do not make a choice based on the investment. You make a choice based on what your head and your heart tell you about the person. And you said something earlier. You said ready. Everybody's ready to do what's easy. Everyone's ready for that. I'm ready to eat right now.
Right.
But I didn't cook today. So I'm really ready. Because it was something that I didn't have to do. But am I willing to clean the kitchen? So everyone shows up with what they are ready for, but are you willing to do the work? It's like parenting. I'm willing, I'm willing to have a baby. I got 3 kids and I'm still not ready for them. My oldest is 30. I'm still not ready for him. I'm willing to be his mother every day. And so are you willing to do whatever it takes, one, to secure a relationship that is good for your most healthy self? Or are you ready to do the easy part?
That's a whole word, Naaila. Thank you so much. I have a question I'm going to segue in, if that's okay. How do you feel about sisters initiating a connection with a brother? If the brother doesn't lead right away in that sense, does it mean that the brother wouldn't be as committed or vested in the relationship? I know that Khadija initiated a connection with the prophet, peace be upon him. Naaila, I'm just going to drop that right on your lap, if that's okay.
You know, how people initially connect, that's not always necessarily a determining factor for how someone is going to show up on commitment. So whoever decides to initiate the contact, that doesn't mean that a person is going to be more or less motivated. Shoot your shot, sis.
Shoot your shot, sis. All right, we heard it right here.
Yeah.
Okay, mashallah. All right, you guys. So one thing I wanted to just kind of segue into is this idea of compatibility. I hear it all the time. Oh, I wasn't compatible with my husband, so we broke up. Or no, marry someone that you're compatible with, right? What does that actually mean? And does it shift? I mean, who I'm compatible with at 19 when I first got married, is that the same now that I'm 36? I'm not sure. Let's break it down. What does it mean to be compatible with someone? Brother Trishawn, what does it mean when you find someone that you're compatible with?
Awesome. This is kind of the topic I've been waiting on. Alhamdulillah. People get it twisted when it comes to compatibility, because compatibility really doesn't have anything to do with connection and chemistry. You know, so when it comes to compatibility, we focus on the connection and the chemistry, whereas if you really have a connection with a person, you could not see them for 10 years. And then you can see that person yesterday or today and be like, you had a conversation with them yesterday. That's a connection. Compatibility is more so focused on traits, like personality traits, character traits. You know, what do we have in common? Or it doesn't not necessarily mean you're compatible. Just because we're the same height don't mean I can jump as high as you. Or just because we got the same build or you know, we both play basketball don't make both of us LeBron James. So, you know, when it comes to the compatibility, we focus most so on the chemistry. Even if you have the same amount of chemistry doesn't mean that you're compatible. So it's a real swap up. So I focus more so on the traits of the other relationships, of the compatibility. Okay, how do we get along? How do we come up with solutions when we have problems? Do we focus more so on the problem? Do we focus more so on the solution? How are we going to get along? We got to understand that we're individuals. So it's going to be things that are different about you. So what are we willing to compromise? You know, so that's what plays a lot of major roles with the compatibility. Are we able to get past the things that seems unlikely to make us survive and make us last in a relationship? So that's kind of my perception on compatibility. It really has nothing to do with connections or chemistry. You know, it's more so personality traits and character defects.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother Trishawn. I'm going to pop over, if that's okay, to Naima. What type of misconceptions do you believe is out there in regards to compatibility? And how do you determine if you're compatible with somebody?
Well, definitely, I agree with the brother that personality traits and character does matter. Those things matter, but the vision that you have for your life, those things are most important. What does the brother see for his future? What does the sister see? What would she like to have in her life for her future, for her family's lives? Are their visions somewhat aligned? Are they far from, each other? Are they going east and west? Those things are the things that you need to focus on, because you can get married to somebody and y'all can get along, have great compatibility and personality, have a good time. You can be relaxed, peaceful around them. But then they may want to go become an astronaut and you want to be at home, staying at home with your family, and you never see this person. These are things that we have to consider as initial questions to ask a person, like, what do they have envisioned for their lives?
SubhanAllah. And Sister Naaila, where do we go wrong with this? Are there, in regards to seeking this compatible match, how important is compatibility in this process?
Naima and the brother made two valid points. And Naima, one of the things that you were saying is definitely you do want to seek someone who has some common values, but particularly for younger couples who I don't really know what my values are yet. I'm 22. And so when you're marrying young, you may not be able to answer those questions. And that's something many of us we encourage. So that part may skip you. But so the solution is, regardless of your age, and this goes back to what the brother said, is the connection. And what we typically do is we get married and we don't build and reconnect the connection. We think that because we get along, because we grew up in the same city, because our parents knew each other, because we're both Muslim and we fear Allah, it's just going to automatically fall into place. And we do cute little things like go to the masjid and we have our date night. But you know what? How are you showing up for your husband or your wife on Wednesday night? What are you doing in those random mundane moments to build the connection? Marriage is not built in these grandiose moments. It is built in these small moments of, wow, that's what he did when I came home with our child. Wow, you know what? She does that for me every time when I come home from work on Fridays. I love that. Those are the things that keep your connection. And people don't think about that. We got along when we got married. The first 2 years were great. What's wrong with him? He can't keep it up? No. It's 15 years later.
Right.
No. And you didn't either. What are you doing to reconnect continually?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. Very insightful. I'm gonna is it okay if I bring in an audience member? Brother Yusuf, did you have something that you wanted to add?
Yeah. Just a few talking points. I'm dealing with, when I'm out there right now, right? I'm 42. I'm not 14. I'm not 18, right? I'm dealing it's either gonna be a widow, ready-made family, divorce, or chronically single.
Okay.
People that have like a long history of something going on, right? And coming into or trying, maybe for the first time, maybe for another time. Some people are like wore thin. They're wore thin already. They're smiling and everything. They're saying, "Oh, I'm okay. I'm over that," right? But they are not. I mean, you could see it. They're wearing it. They're wearing like warrior. Hey, watch out. Oh, that ain't. It's not you. You're not fighting you, right? So,
Brother Yusuf, is it okay if I segue? I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. Are you saying that when you're out there looking for potential partners, this is what you're getting back?
Anytime I'm observing, anytime like the sister said, shoot your shot. Anytime they shoot their shot, right? I gotta try to figure out, okay, who is shooting the shot.
Okay. So, go ahead, Naaila. Go ahead. Y'all can go back and forth. No, I want this to be an exchange. Naaila, go ahead.
No, because I agree with him, and I want to elaborate. And I'm talking to my sisters because many of us are well put together externally. And because of that, we think that no one sees the inside. And we always say, well, men, they can't talk, and men, they're not emotional, and men, they don't understand women. Men are masters of women because they love them. He can read you, and he sees right through you. He just
Mashallah. Hey, Sabria, look, before y'all move to the next stuff, let me just say something. I'm one of the, I don't know if I'm one of the few male Muslims. I'm real big on women's rights. I'm real big on women, period. Standing up, doing their things. I'm proud of the women. Mashallah, alhamdulillah. And as far as shooting your son, I feel like it could go both ways. If a woman sees something they like, you can say something to their brother. Their brother might be a shy brother. You don't know what a person's personality is. You don't know if he's a timid person. Is he a broken person? Is he emotionally unavailable? So if a woman comes and shoot a shot, maybe it gives them a little courage. Or if a male shoots a shot, I think it should be equal. I just look at it like that. I'm not big on that. I'm the masculinity thing, or I'm the man, or woo, rah, rah. I'm not with that. Like if a woman sees me and she likes me and I like her, I appreciate it. I didn't know what to say to you. I appreciate you saying something.
You ain't know what to say. You ain't know how to shoot the shot. Well, you know that. Yeah, because
cool.
a lot of y'all do sit on the sidelines too. Now we
Yeah, I
not
be
even gonna
sitting on the
lie about that.
sideline.
Y'all be
I'm on the sideline right now.
tell the truth, subhanAllah. Mashallah. Woo, we have a lot of comments here. I'm just trying to bring some in if that's okay. Okay, so one of our sisters here, she said, of all the things mentioned that might lead to a successful marriage, very little people talk about kindness, which plays a huge, huge role in partnership. This is where the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, best among you is one who is best to his wife, and I'm the best among you in my dealings to my wives. I would say love and nurture come so easy to women. So as a woman, we should always choose a kind-hearted man, because a kind man will lead a beautiful marriage. I'm just gonna go right back to you, Naaila. What do you think about that?
Oh, that sounds good. And I believe it, from an Islamic perspective. But I'm going to tell you, a narcissist is kind. A sociopath is kind. And so we have to define kindness. How do you want to see kindness walk in your house? How do you want to see kindness make love to you? How do you want to see kindness feed your children? How do you want to see kindness mother your children? You need to be very specific about that. Saying be kind to me, I can find kindness at the grocery store. It don't mean, he really, really kind.
Right. 100%.
Is that really my type? Does he or she offer kindness in a way that I can receive it and that I need it and that nurtures me?
Right.
Speak on it. Woo, sorry. So since we just started open up this little can of worms, let's talk a little bit about it, because I hear it all the time. Red flags. Oh, yes. Hold on, brother.
Y'all are killing me in these comments. I'm trying not to read them.
Comments off the chain. I love y'all. Thank y'all. Keep them coming. All right, let's talk about it. Red flags, you guys. We talk about it all the time. Watch out for the red flags. This should be a song out for it. Deal breakers. All right. So I know that many of us are in a quest. Sometimes I feel like what I've noticed and just in doing this series is that, we get caught up in a lot of ideals, or sometimes we get a little bit obsessed on looking for red flags. How do we draw the line with our checklists and our deal breakers and our red flags? Brother Yusuf, I'm going to start with you, if that's okay. How do you draw a balance when you're seeking a partner with, some people, we are flawed, right? So how do you draw a balance when we refer to our checklist and our deal breakers and our red flags versus allowing people to be as they are and develop and grow and all of that? How do you draw the line?
I'm gonna have to leave, so I'm gonna have to see if that's workable more than anything else, because it's a lot of stuff. So what I'm thinking about as soon as I'm thinking about flags, because you'll see all kinds of stuff. A flag for me isn't a flag for somebody else. So it's like the Imam, one of the Imams had a khutbah where he said, we minor in the major and we major in the minor. So I don't want to make minor stuff major, right? And I don't want anybody like winnowing down the major stuff. Like I'm saying it's major. This is a huge problem. I'm saying it's major. They're saying it's minor. And now we miss each other, right? Now we don't find common ground because you just ran over something I said was major for me. So it's about majoring and minoring. So you're gonna have a flag. Somebody's gonna believe that this is a huge problem. Somebody's gonna believe that it's not. So that's my biggest thing as far as flags.
And mashallah, and Naima, someone mentioned, a couple sisters said, one sister said, I'm just gonna ask you this. One sister said, like, let's talk about green flags. And another sister said, but don't ignore red flags while we search for the green flags. I wanted to just ask you, like, how do you, as a woman, when you navigate marriage or when you navigate meeting someone new, or in the past when you have, how do you navigate between sort of looking for those green flags first, or kind of versus focusing on the red flags? Like, how do you navigate between the two when it comes to partnership and seeking a mate?
Well, that one is pretty tricky because it takes time sometimes for those red flags to pop up. You can see a lot of green flags in the beginning, in the middle, but from my past experience, I have learned to now be a lot more patient with the process. You know, pay attention, listen to a brother, let the men speak. We speak and we talk a lot. I am a talker and I tend to talk too much. I tell them everything up front. You know, I want them to know all about me, all the real, honest, raw truths that I have, but not too much. But then brothers will just sit back and don't say anything, don't tell us anything. But I notice if you just, you know, sit back and allow a man to speak, he will reveal some of his truth, and some of it will be a red flag on the very first conversation. And that will allow you to say, oh, no, that we can't communicate any further from here. So yes, pay attention to the green flags, but also be a listener. Because like I heard a marriage coach or a relationship coach say once that men will tell on themselves. They will. You just have to listen.
SubhanAllah. Okay. She's dropping secrets, brothers, just so you know. When they get quiet, we all know what's going on. No. Naaila, I wanted to just come on over to you, sis. You know, when we're talking about, first of all, I want you to, if you could, define, because someone asked that, define what would be considered a red flag, or how do we know what a red flag is? We know it's different for each person, but how would you define red flag, and how do we draw a balance when we're actually, are we hyper looking at every flaw, and is each one going to be a red flag and a oh no, or how do we make sense of all this?
Okay. So the first thing is, don't look at the red flag as what is haram. What Allah has already said is haram is haram. That shouldn't be part of the criteria. Like, don't hit me, don't use drugs. That's a given. If I have to remind you of the basic principles that Allah has already said, that's right.
Right.
So stay away from the haram. The haram is its own list. Now, so how do you define it? The red flag is, these are anything that will make you want to walk away. Somebody just threw a red flag at me. A red flag is anything that will make you want to walk away from a marriage. If you want to walk away from a relationship, if I see this, then that's a red flag for you. Now, this is the problem. Y'all get a green flag, and y'all let the green flag make your red flags change. You get rid of your red flags because of the green flag. No. Your red flag is always red. I don't care how green he is. Green like red, money green, Kermit the Frog green, the green mentioned in the Quran. You do not switch up your red flag.
Start moving goalposts is money green.
If it's a deal breaker, it is a deal breaker. Period. Then you choose someone based on an investment, and you forget all about the things you said you wouldn't take.
Man.
SubhanAllah. Woo. Everybody was feeling that in the comments, so that's just as clear as day. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right. So I wanted us to kind of get into a pretty in-depth conversation, and audience members, I want all of us to be a part of this. I think this is so important. And I appreciate the dialogue, and that everybody's really invested in this conversation, because it's an important one. So I'm going to bring up certain points, certain misconceptions, certain common beliefs about relationships, especially when it comes to meeting spouses, maintaining connection, etc. What I'm going to do is I'm going to state a couple sort of misconceptions or understandings, I should say. And I'm going to go around to each of you, and I want you guys to say whether you agree or disagree. And that goes for Tristan, Yusuf, and Naima. Agree or disagree. You can add just a very short context if you can. And then we will allow Sister Naaila to sort of provide that context for us. And I will include audience perspectives in with that. All right, Bismillah. You guys ready? Ready?
Ready.
Ready.
Ready. Okay. All right. All right. Let's start with you, Brother Trishawn. There is one special person for me. You agree or disagree?
I agree.
Why?
I agree because I feel like individually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has always had some one individual person out here for us, but we just have yet to find that person. It may be dependent upon how we're carrying ourselves, depending on the space we're at in our lives. So yes, I definitely agree that it's one person for me.
Okay.
No polygamy.
Okay. Oh. Now, come on, Brother Trishawn. We ain't starting that, right, Naaila? We're not starting that up in here. That's not what we're doing. Okay. Brother Yusuf, do you agree? There is one special person for you. Agree or disagree?
Pass.
Oh, come on, brother. You got it.
I have no idea. I'm not. I can't. What if I told you? I thought I found that person, right? That person is, everything invested, all the feelings that you think you're supposed to have, all the magic and everything, right? Found that person, right? Didn't work out. Now another one? Do I just go ahead and say, since that seemed like I'm not gonna reach it?
SubhanAllah. Okay, Naima, there is one special person for you, sis. Agree or disagree?
No.
She's like, absolutely not.
Well, I say that because we could just simply go to the Quran. Allah has already told us that He created all of us from one soul. So that means there are several souls out here that are compatible with us. And if we think that we're gonna be able to search through a haystack and find a needle, that's not true. That's not the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be open and willing to allow Allah to guide us to a person who is most compatible, most efficient for this life. There are a lot of people in the days of the Prophet ﷺ who never got married. And there are people who were married and divorced several times. There are many Sahabas who were married and divorced several times. So this is the norm in our religion. There are people with likenesses of souls that are going to connect for the right reasons at the right time in your life. We're going to learn from that experience, possibly get divorced. And that's just the reality of things. If we sit back and expect this perfect individual to come along and be our most compatible mate that's going to last forever and ever and a day, we're going to be happily ever after, then we might end up being single for a very long time.
Okay, subhanAllah. Thank you so much. All right, Sister Naaila, and the audience is saying yes, no, all of that. What say you, sis?
I think the key word here when you say is one special person for you. And I'm gonna speak from my own, from my personal experience. I have met several Mr. Rights, but I was not always ready for the Mr. Right when he showed up. And so you may meet someone that could be right for you, but you are not right for them at that time. Everyone knows how I love myself some him. I love the him. But I tell him, had I married him or met him 5 years or even just a year prior to when I did, I would not have been more married that man. I had to be ready for what it was and willing to do what our marriage requires of me. And yeah, I think that's the word, timing. It's about timing. Sometimes we meet the best people at the wrong time. Yeah. And Allah sent him. He brought us together at the time of our lives where both of us were willing to give each other what it was that we mutually need. But just 6 months before, bruh, bye.
Right. Powerful. Thank you so much.
But he said the same thing about me too. I just want to put that out there.
All right. I got a good one for you guys. Love at first sight is possible. Trishawn, what say you, bro? Love at first sight is possible.
You know what? I done been impatient so much in my life. I believe in lust at first sight.
Okay.
But I don't, you know, love at first sight. I don't think so. I'm not gonna place a time limit on actually love, but I'm not just gonna ride up to the match if I just met you, man. I'm wild by you and like it's a nickel. Nah. I don't do love at first sight. I need to spend some time with you because you know as time goes by, you start figuring out things about people. You know, and that's that disconnect start coming in. So I'm gonna have to pass on that one.
Okay. All right. I need some time with you. All right. Fair enough. All right, Brother Yusuf. Love at first sight. Is it possible for you?
Possible, yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna say possible or yes. Difficult because everything that comes after that is the work. So no matter how you feel, welcome to the job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Powerful. Thank you, Brother Yusuf. Naima, love at first sight. Is it possible for you, sis?
I don't think so. I mean, attraction at first sight, yes. You can be attracted to a person. You can see a lot of great qualities in them, and you want to further the relationship or further communication and possibility for a relationship, but not love. Love kind of builds over time. You need a little bit of time.
Absolutely. Okay. Naaila, is love at first sight possible?
I believe that people are confusing love with a intense physical, spiritual, or emotional attraction. And they call it love because it literally ignites that part of the brain.
Mhm.
And you meet someone who ignites that part of your brain and you say, oh, well, this must be love. And that's not necessarily true. And this is why we cannot separate our head and our heart.
There we go.
Powerful. All right.
Can I
Okay.
can I chime in one time?
Okay. Quickly, if it's okay, Brother Yusuf.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead.
The reason why I had to go into the possibility because there's too many instances where it did work out from the start and it carried. They stuck and they carried. So you can't discount a reality. You see what I'm saying? Not to say that everything else and everything that we define constitutes love didn't have to be worked on. They didn't have to go through anything or whatever. It's just that some simply both parties fell in love, right? As soon as they met each other, clicked, got married, and carried, and that was it. And
Okay.
that's all wrong. That's my take on that. And because it was because of my father, 38 years. He was horrible all the way up until maybe 40, right? And he met Khadijah. And 38 years.
Yeah. Yeah. SubhanAllah. Powerful. Thank you so much, brother. Now, can I ask you guys a quick question? Am I delayed at all?
No.
Okay, some of you guys are a little delayed, so just forgive me if I'm trying to catch what you're saying a little bit. All right, SubhanAllah, this is a good one now. This is a good one. All right, opposites attract and can lead to a strong lifelong commitment. Do you believe opposites attract, Trishan?
It just depends on what you mean by opposite as far as like, are you saying opposite as far as a physical appearance, opposite as far as profession, opposite attract as far as goals and long-term goals and stuff like that. I think opposites can track, especially if you've been with somebody that's likewise of who you are and you've been a failure to it. I don't see nothing wrong with trying it out. So, you know, it's possible. I think it's possible.
Okay.
Anyway, when you look at it, everybody is an opposite because I look at everybody as an individual. There's always something individually different that differentiates you from everybody else, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's spiritual. So yeah, I can roll with that.
All right, beautiful. Brother Yusuf, opposites attract. And what do you think? Yes or no?
What I've seen is some people have found a good workability being opposite. Some people have high pressure jobs, just need that comfort at home. They don't need a high pressure person. So sometimes it just works. But that yin and yang works for some people. So I think so.
Absolutely, yin and yang. Love that. Naima, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Brother Yusuf. It definitely has to be a good opposite. You can't have opposite goals in life or opposite ways of practice of your religion. Like, that's not compatibility. You can't have opposite beliefs in the way you want to raise your children. Those kind of things cannot be opposites. You know what I'm saying? Those are compatibility issues. So once those opposites attract in a sense of chemistry and attraction and likeness, then you have to dig deeper and see if those other opposites are going to make a good relationship.
Okay, powerful. And Naaila, I have up here, Brother Anthony said, it's fine as long as we're not opposite with financial goals. So can opposites attract or?
If you were two opposites or you were two of the same like-minded people, the commonality between either couple is that the two of you have agreed on what you agree about. And when you agree on what you agree about, y'all can make that thing work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
She said a mouthful.
Powerful.
Agree and stick to your agreements.
Powerful.
Whatever works for your marriage and for your family. And you get to be nocturnal and I get to be a morning person. You know, the brother, he just said, as long as we agree on money. Well, maybe we don't agree on money. And I just agree that you're going to do the money.
Yes.
I don't do money the way you do it. So you just do it. Since I see that that's important to you. They agree on what they agree about.
SubhanAllah. And Sister Khalidia said, how you live, tall it up or tall it down. Opposites can drive a person mad, child. So
but that's what we have to make sure we need a home with multiple bathrooms.
There you go.
That'll work.
That'll work.
Here knows how much men are going to the bathroom.
We don't want to make
a long time. You need multiple bathrooms that handle that.
There's a solution.
There you go. There you go. SubhanAllah. All right, you guys. Here we go. Let's see. All right. So now, with COVID era and, like the sister said, online love is really on the rise with COVID and everything. This is a good question for people. Building a relationship with a long distance partner should be avoided. Long distance relationships are more difficult to nurture and they survive much less often. Trishan, do you agree or disagree with that?
My perception, I've been unsuccessful right here in the city, so I'm out. I'll take a chance. Let's go. I think it depends. Like, say for instance, you got children. Depends on what your career is like. It plays a lot towards those different roles. So it could be a good thing, but for so far, I'm gonna be real. Nah, long distance don't do too well. You don't do too well, especially if you got like children aboard. When it comes to making that decision as to who's gonna move and travel aboard. So that's where it comes down to, and people don't want to do that. So you try to find somebody within your own space. It's kind of hard though. That's a difficult question. I kind of wanted to avoid that question.
Oh, you want to answer? Okay. Sorry. Okay.
I was gonna pull a
pass. Brother Yusuf, what is your thought? What are your thoughts? Do you think building a relationship with long distance? Do you feel like the odds is just too tough? What? Pass.
Computer love. I would say this. There's so much more available right now as far as dating. If you are trying to date an app, right, instead of just going out there shooting the barrel, hi, my name is Yusuf, right? You could learn so much about a person or whatever right now. Sometimes that's helpful, sometimes it's not. That distance is just an added strain, but you got a lot more than we had before. Because before, you were on the telephone long distance. You couldn't see them. You couldn't know their profile or what they wear some of the time, or sometimes they shoot videos and they're just a ratchet. You know what I mean? You didn't know. So we know so much more now, and we get access to so much more as far as profiles, just like jobs or profiling, right? So it's
helps.
easier now than it was, but it's an added burden.
Added strain, absolutely. Naima, what do you think?
Yes, long distance could work. I believe that if there's two people that are willing to put in the work and develop a relationship and have conversations about the possibility of moving to another state or to another country, even two reasonable adults could make that decision with patience and perseverance. Definitely. I believe that.
Absolutely. Okay, Naaila, what has been, I know people are all involved in long distance relationships, but is it just like you said, an added strain? Is it really tough to get through these type of relationships?
Okay, so I'm going to ask that when you're talking about long distance relationship, are you talking about the formation of the relationship or or sustaining the relationship?
Formation.
Okay. Yes, you can meet someone who is far from you. This is part of the problem is, one, people will connect with people that are, I call it your marriage budget. They are outside of your marriage budget, and this is not a financial budget. You know you can't get to Jersey. You know you got kids. You know you can't take time off. You know you scared to fly. You know this about yourself. Why even do it? And so people go into these relationships knowing that they have a life that does not allow them the capacity to literally follow through on a relationship. And that's why some of you do it, actually. So
pull that book up. Where that book?
Man, I told you, man, I'm about to place my order tonight. I want to see if I can get like some love.
I'm your number one promoter as far as that book. Make sure that I get all.
If you know you cannot follow through and bring the relationship locally into real time and bring it off social media and bring it off text and bring it off the phone, then don't go there. You know you can't do it. Your life, your coins, your kids, your job, it just will not allow for that. And be honest with yourself rather than just keep sitting there talking for hours and hours, knowing that this is really not going any further than right here. It's unfair.
Exactly. That's kind of how I felt, Ms. Clay. That's kind of how I felt about it.
Okay. Now the other part of that is this. I want you to think about, can you feed someone long distance? So let's say I wanted to send you, let's say Sabria, you're sick, and I want to send you some food because you're sick. Okay, it's COVID. I ain't coming over there. All right. Okay. So I want to send you something. I can Instacart the groceries to you, and I can send you healthy food. But do I have any role or any say in the food preparation? No, I don't. Do I have any say, or do I know how much you need? Do I know if you prefer, more green vegetables versus potatoes? I don't know that because I'm not there. And I want you to be mindful that this is the issue with long distance relationships. You cannot nourish anything from afar. I can make sure the food is there. I can send it. We can do the grocery list from together through the phone, through Instacart, but I still cannot make sure that you are fed in a way that is good for you from afar. To be close up.
Alhamdulillah.
Wouldn't that be good just for getting to know phases, like just the getting to know stage? Wouldn't it be good to have just that long distance for protection, even, Naaila?
I mean, there's some benefit, right? But it always has to come offline. Even Instacart, I ordered today. It started out on my app. It ended up at the front door. Even my Instacart came to me. And I ended up having a full-fledged relationship with my groceries today. You start here, but you end up having a full-fledged relationship. And if you cannot do that, then you can't do it.
It won't happen.
You gotta come off the bench.
Gotta come off the bench.
Eventually.
It started getting real after about 3 months. After about 3 months go by, somebody got to make a move.
We got to figure something out.
Somebody got to do something, right? Wow, this is child, the comments and stuff. Somebody said, even if it's a plural marriage situation, you don't got to go too deep in that. That's a whole nother podcast. But did you want to answer that real quickly, Naaila?
Marriage is marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage. Monogamy is marriage. You do the multiple marriages deserve the same nurturing, just like all your first marriage, your second marriage, your third marriage. You can do them consecutively or simultaneously. They all have the same requirement.
Yeah.
That's how y'all mess up with polygyny. You sit back and thinking because I'm in polygyny, I get less. Says who?
That's why I said we're gonna start something up in here.
We brother have to know what he's doing.
Hey, look, I'm out of there. Yusuf, you on your own on that one, brother. I'm all right, let's just one.
So subhanallah. All right, let's get back focused, you guys. All right. Okay, subhanallah. You should feel totally competent as a future spouse or partner before you decide to marry or commit, or even you should be fully healed before you decide to marry or commit. What do you think, Brother Shashan?
Yes. I feel like it's my prerogative to go into a relationship with the person who is not emotionally unavailable or is still broken from the past. Not to come off as insensitive, but I don't want to date a potential mate. I don't want to look at a person and be like, okay, I think I can, I can be patient enough to this person get done with this and done with that. Okay, we all suffer wounds in relationships, but in the scars there you can still see them. But that don't mean it's still bleeding. So no, I'm not gonna go into a relationship with a person because I feel like before you even invite yourself into your life into another person's life, you want to not bring in no turmoil to that person's life because I don't like my peace being disturbed. The reason why I'm on the dating market is because I'm ready to date. So to me, it's a contradiction to yourself. Like, why would you even date if you feel like you still don't get teary-eyed if you bring up a conversation about such and such? So I'm not with the. I'm definitely. I oppose it. 100% oppose it. Going into.
But do you feel like you have to be totally competent? Like you have to be totally there?
I think nobody's totally competent. I mean, we're gonna have some form of brokenness, but I'm just saying it got to be 80%, 20% split. Something I can really work with. You know what I'm saying? I can't go in with you and you 40% with me and you 60% still on the ropes of the high depression and all that. No, just holler at me next year.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for your honesty. All right, Brother Yusuf.
You're killing me. No. Hold on. The first part was. What did you say? The first part was totally
competent. As a future. Yeah, totally competent. Just like as a potential, like as a husband, just ready financially, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah. That two huge things. Because like male competence, and male readiness and female like competence and readiness, and then when you talk about healed, that's a whole nother that's a whole nother thing. Because I believe some of us, even though healed, we're still. It's kind of like what they were saying, PTSD, right? Mm-hmm. Even healed, right? I'm still looking to see. Okay, you're still checking. You it's like wounded warrior, right? You might not go any further. You might check yourself, say, hey, stop tripping, right? Because that's what that is. But once you've been a veteran, right, you don't unbecome a veteran. Ask a veteran. Ask anybody that's went through anything. And I don't know if you were getting that, Sabria, from sisters that you were dealing with, just talking about just having been in marriage and then come out or whatever. But that stuff is coming. So I don't know if you can be. I like the way Trey John said at least 80% or something.
Yeah,
As
80% there.
that's reasonable. But we should be competent as far as competency. Like we should be at least saying, hey, I'm ready and competent to be able to perform in a relationship, meet those requirements, because there are going to be requirements that require. And like I was saying about emotional stability, stamina, you gotta have some gumption that I'm gonna deal with some stuff, regardless of how wonderful it is, and I gotta have that stamina.
Powerful. Thank you so much, Naima. What do you think about this?
Oh yes, I definitely agree with both of them. You have to have a majority of confidence, security, and enter into a relationship. You can't be on the fence. You can't be on the bench. You have to be willing and able and working towards marriage. And as we know in Islam, not everybody is going to be fully ready or to the point of full healing. You know, we all are continuously growing and continuously healing in our lives. So it's never going to be a completely fully whole person. You know, we're all dealing with things. We all do have, as Yusuf said, some PTSD or some triggers that sometimes we just have to let our partner know, hey, like, this is something that I dealt with, and this is something that really, you know, triggers me. And at sometimes it may just be a little trigger, and then, you know, it might escalate in a relationship because that person, you know, actually triggers those emotions in you. But if you discuss that with your partner and you let them know that I'm willing to work through this through counseling, through communication, through readiness, whatever you need to do to continuously heal, people can come together in some brokenness in them and still be in successful marriages, I believe.
Absolutely beautiful, Naima. All right, Naaila.
You're the expert.
One of the things that is offered in the book is some short exercises so you can actually see how personally competent you are. And so what I want to add that part, when you say totally competent, you need to be totally competent about who you are and how you are going to show up. Once you know that, I can tell you this about myself, and this is how I look under these circumstances. We know that you apply pressure in some certain circumstances, you're going to get a diamond. And in another circumstances, you're going to get a pearl. Well, maybe I show up like a black pearl. And I need to tell you the conditions, the type of pressure that is needed, because I am competent about who I am. Now, who you believe yourself to be, but who you actually are. The other part, when you say fully healed, no one's fully healed. Well, the problem with, as a therapist, one of the biggest issues with going through the healing process is it is painful being woke. You tired of being woke. You tired of figuring out something else that you didn't know you didn't have figured out. So it is an ongoing endeavor. You ever want to see someone who's tired? It's someone who's woke. People who still sleep, they good because they resting. They ain't trying to do nothing.
That's right.
But woke people understand duties and responsibilities that come with being awake.
Yes.
And if I'm in that space, I have a responsibility to myself. And if I'm going to get in a relationship with you, bruh, sis, I need to let you know what this looks like. And so when we talk about this competency, please be competent and honest with yourself about who you are and how you show up in your relationships.
Definitely.
Allah. Woo, yes. That was the whole word. Okay. All right, guys. So this is one of our more culminating points. You can be happy with anyone you choose to commit to if you really just try hard enough. So we say all the red flags, green flags, or not red flags, because red flags are bad. But we say all the compatibilities and do's and don'ts. But if you really just put your effort and your intentions there, you can really be happy with anyone. Do you agree, Trishawn?
I'm gonna have to disagree on that one because I don't have a choice, because I can't tell you, you know, in relationships, it's hard to just say something like that about anyone, because anyone isn't all the same. People like individually different. You don't know a person from the inside. You know, we can look at the outside of the shiny car, don't mean the motor work. You know what I mean? So that's to me, that's humanly impossible, because you know, getting to know a person means everything to me. So I can't just make you my. This is not build a bear. You know, build a person. So you know what I'm saying. You can't just expect everything to be perfect with a person just because you say it so. You know, because that person got to be on the same page as you. You know, y'all got to have that dialogue. Y'all got to have that, what we talked about earlier, that connection, that chemistry. You know, so the personality traits and character defects that we can at least work out amongst each other to make things work. But I don't think you can just make it work with anybody. If that was the case, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Mm-hmm.
Alhamdulillah. It's just my perception from it.
Okay. And Brother Yusuf, what about, okay, let me, if two people together choose to commit and try hard.
But then that's different. That's different. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You both have a mutual agreement, mutual understanding. Okay, we're gonna work through. Okay, I know your problems now. You know my problems. You know, so you know what I'm about. Like Sister Clay was saying, you know, everything is on the table now. My competence, I'm competent with you. You know everything about me now. So if we're in agreement to something, then yeah, that means I accept you for who you are.
All right.
That's
Thank
perfect,
you.
yeah.
All right, Brother Yusuf, what do you think? You can be happy with anyone that you choose to commit if you try hard enough?
He just said it, and he quoted her. If we now when you're saying both sides, because when you're saying one side, it was like, oh,
yeah,
no,
right.
But if both sides are there and they make that agreement, you understand, like when we're talking about Islam and being trustworthy and everything else, like if you're and what it says about agreements, if you can make those agreements and stick to them, that constitutes what it is.
Yeah.
That's it. If we say that, but we got to understand what we're saying when we're saying it. We gotta, we look at everything. We saying you woke, look at everything. You know what it is. When y'all making agreements or whatever, what you know what you're overlooking, right? In this agreement, and what you have to do. You can't say, "Oh yeah, I agree," and then we can just force this to work, right? But you have to recognize what you forced to work, because when those things come to head, when that stuff that you overlooked shows up, you're gonna be shaking but you agreed to it. You're gonna out, and you agreed to it. You seen some green flag and you overlooked the red flag, like you said. But that agreement is powerful. You can make anything work. Somebody did I think somebody did a study. Yale professor, somebody was studying all the couples that were married like 50, 100 years, and they said, what made them stick together? And he was like, I don't know, we just didn't want to leave each other. They had just agreed that they liked each other, so they were just around. It's just, we go where, So.
Thank you. Powerful. I appreciate that. Naima, what say you? A lot of comments here. A lot of people agreeing or disagreeing. Most people are disagreeing with it, but someone did ask, is staying married for the sake of Allah still a thing? What do you think about this?
I do believe that's possible. Two people are both in agreement and enter into a relationship with that agreed upon that no matter what, we're going to work through these issues, and they're willing. I think it's very possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Naaila, I know this is your work. This is what you do. People come to you when they can't figure it out. Can people work it out no matter what if they choose and commit to it? Despite the differences, despite the disagreements, despite the violations? What say you, Naaila?
I'm going to go to the story of the woman who went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, there's nothing wrong with it, but I want a divorce. I want to be released from this marriage because I don't like you. Sometimes the person just does not do it for you. Sometimes there can be something about a person that will not inspire you to be married and to remain married with them. We have this example from the authentic hadiths. Now, when you're talking about, everyone is saying, well, if the two of you agree to make it work, that make it work part is what gives me pause, because it sounds good. I'm committed to doing that work. But do I come to the marriage with the capacity to do what it is that you're requiring me to do?
Mm.
You're requiring me to use filters in my speech. Okay. Well, I was raised in a family where one of my parents, where they were diabolical with the way they were with their verbal attacks.
Ooh.
I am nowhere like them. And so I feel like I'm doing well because I am not like that parent. And you are saying that it is problematic and I need to pull it back more. I showed up with pulling it back more. And so this is what we keep saying. We got to do the work. We got to do the work. You got to remember that people have been worked on before they got in front of you. And what is it that they are showing up with? How much capacity and ability do they naturally bring? Do they just show up with, without any therapy, without any medication, that can get y'all to sustaining a marriage? Maybe you just need a couple of counseling sessions. Maybe you need some sessions and some medication. And sometimes you need divorce.
Well,
Woo! Yeah.
Silence the critics.
Yeah, subhanallah. Yeah, that's why we
Appreciate
had
that.
this. Yeah. I mean, and with that said, that's why we had this amazing dialogue.
Get real.
Yeah, I
People
deeply
have
appreciate.
worked on before they get to you. Their mama's been working on them, their wife's working on them, their kids working on them, their jobs working on them, their childhood's working on them. And you tell me, I want you to work on this marriage with me. All of us sit here with everything I just listed behind us. Everything. Okay, maybe you don't have a divorce behind you. You got a family history, you got a work history, you got a childhood, you got an upbringing. You have a story to tell, and it did something to you. Some of it is good and some of it's not. So I need to know what your working framework looks like.
right.
And Brother Anwar said divorce is a travesty in Islam.
You know, it's like if I'm going to bake, I'm a foodie, so I speak in food.
Yeah.
You know? So I may say, well, we're going to bake a cake, and for someone else, for me, that means, you know, I'm going to get my flour. Lord, I can't even remember the one. I only use one brand. I can't even think of what it is right now, but it doesn't matter. And for someone else, it's Duncan Hines. We're not the same. The framework for baking a cake is box. Is a box. Mine is scratch.
Right.
I'm gonna get some flour, some water, some eggs,
some baking soda.
Exactly. And so when you talk about we gonna make it work, y'all don't even have the same toolkit.
So true.
Right. Okay, subhanallah. Thank you so much. I was just looking at the comments. There's so many, so much going on. So much going on in the comments. But I deeply appreciate this this conversation. I think more importantly, I think we all realize that the importance of going ahead and getting this book. Naaila, I know you said it is a premarital guide, but I'm assuming anybody could benefit from this book, Selection Perfection.
Yes, but we're not telling people that yet. We're waiting for people to get it and so that they can see it themselves. We've already had married couples purchase it. But yeah.
Okay. It is okay. So everybody please.
But it is taken
I'm ordering mine tonight.
Our premarital course. Directly from that.
Okay, subhanallah. All right, and can you just tell us one more time, drop it slowly for us, where we can pre-order the book?
Okay, I sent you a link that you can share with them to get it, but it is in pre-sale. The book will be sent out to you. You'll be able to have the opportunity to get a signed copy the first week of March. So please go ahead and get your pre-sale signed copy now at this time. For those of you, let's see, what is this? It's Dope Muslima. So this
Like
is
dope Muslim
what
woman.
I do. So if you get a copy of the book, I'm going to make Dope Muslima a coupon code. So
Ooh.
Yay.
that you will also be able to get the premarital course, the self-guided premarital course. And my husband, he ain't here, he's probably gonna have to fit, but I'm gonna make it $39.99, okay?
All right.
$9, y'all.
You should have discussed that with your husband first, Naaila. Now, come on.
She took a leap of faith. We'll see how that works.
She knows him enough.
Y'all give me time to, but that'll be the coupon code Dope Muslima, and I'll make that it, and you put it in, and so that way you can get the book and you can get our self-guided premarital course together as a. So when you get the book, it'll give you the you'll be able to get the course, and you will automatically get the 5 downloads and the workbook that goes along with the course automatically. I'm going to do that for those that are tonight.
Looking forward to that.
Only tonight. You have to purchase it tonight, Naaila?
No, I'm gonna give them a couple of days.
In a couple of days. Okay, you heard that. You guys want to go on to the website, thatclaycouple.com, right, Naaila?
Yes,
thatclaycouple.com.
What is it?
And, if you can share with them the link, can you put that in the comments, please?
I will.
Share with them the link, and I'm on that. There you go.
Okay. All right, my beautiful people. So please take advantage of that and make sure so you can get more gems and all of that. And not just that, it also just supports this cause. And we are really trying to, like I said, mashallah, really help our community. Sister, the Clay Couple does so much in the community as far as helping healthy marriages, but also just helping all of us have a healthy relationship with ourselves. So we really appreciate this dialogue, guys. We had so much fun, mashallah. Jazakallah khairan. For Sister Khalida, you said, when will it be ready? March 2nd. So very soon.
Right. And the other thing is, someone said, I want the Brothers too, and you already pre-ordered. All you have to do is you will be able to get the self-guided course. Just put in the coupon code Dope Muslima. As long as you have the coupon code, you'll still find.
Okay, Dope Muslima is the coupon code. Okay, coupon code. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. I just wanted to extend some gratitude, Brother Trishan. Thank you so much for coming on, and I just wanted to extend a dua. May Allah bless you with a companion, inshallah, someone that's the coolness of your eyes, and may Allah continue to elevate you and me. Thank you for being on the show.
Inshallah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, brother. MashaAllah, and thank you, Brother Yusuf, as well, for being here, and you as well. I know that you are also single, and I'm not sure whether you seek it or not, but may Allah bless you with a spouse if that's what you seek, but may Allah bless you also with much success. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. And Sister Naima, Jazakallah, thank you so much for being on the show and for your perspective and for holding it down for the sisters. So may Allah bless you, sister.
Thank you. Someone asked for the code. I'm going to make it Dope Muslima, all caps. Dope Muslima.
Oh, all caps. Okay, all caps. Okay.
One word, all caps.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. And thank you to my dope audience members. Thank you so much. MashaAllah. This was our last special edition of this series. We are coming back next Wednesday called Love's Triumph with another dope couple, inshallah. And I cannot wait to continue to connect with you guys. Thank you. May Allah bless all of you. Have a wonderful night and a wonderful week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right.